Welcome to Top Advisor Marketing, where you will learn how to become a prolific online influencer, attract more ideal clients, and grow your practice. Brought to you by Top Advisor Podcasting, a done-for-you podcasting solution built just for trusted advisors. And now, your co-hosts of Top Advisor Marketing, Kirk Lowe and Matt Halloran.
Hello and welcome to another Top Advisor Marketing podcast. Our guest today happens to be a friend of Top Advisor Marketing and has actually been a friend of my partner and your all good friend, Kirk Lowe, for many, many years. I have heard Machens' name bounced around from Kirk forever as one of the best coaches he's ever met, a personal friend and somebody who they have actually helped each other out in business over the years. And so I feel like I know Machen MacDonald very well. He's the founder of the Pro Brilliance Leadership Institute, which is one of the things we're going to talk about today. But he does happen to be one of the best coaches in financial services, especially when it comes to leadership. When I was a coach, this is one of the areas that a lot of my clients would talk to me about and say, hey, Matt, do you do leadership coaching? And I never did because I had no idea what I'm doing. So I'm super excited to learn from Machen today and find out a little bit more about what leadership coaching is. And then, of course, what he can do for all of you financial services professionals out there. So Machen, welcome to the show.
Thanks, Matt. Good to be with you.
So let's define leadership coaching. What does that mean exactly?
Yeah, it's really simple in that leadership is really just bringing out our best in ourselves as well as others. It's getting ourselves and others to perform at our top or our full potential.
Now, financial services professionals in general, what makes them great financial advisors doesn't necessarily make them great leaders. Have you found that?
Yeah, absolutely. A lot of them are brilliant with regards to the technical aspects of financial planning and risk management and so forth, yet they can't get themselves to market themselves effectively, or they can't get themselves to follow up effectively, and things fall through the cracks and customer service falls through the cracks. So it's really about finding out what their zone of brilliance is and allowing them to structure their business or their practice so that they can spend the majority of their time in their zone of brilliance and then surround themselves with other people that do what they're not so good at, but what they're brilliant at, if that makes sense.
It does make sense, but how do you tease out somebody's zone of brilliance? Would you mind showing us under the hood a little bit here?
Yeah, it's actually quite simple in that I just listen to where the energy goes. When I'm having a conversation with people, they light up around what they value most in their life and in their business. And I just pay attention to that, and then I feed that back to them. And that's actually how the name of our business was established, Pro Brilliance or Provoking Brilliance, in that I would listen to my clients and I would feed back to them what they told me, and they'd tell me, oh my gosh, that's brilliant. How did you come up with that? And all I'd say is, I was just listening to you and I'm feeding back what you told me. And so a lot of it is inside of them. I just have this ability to pull it out of them and then hold it up so they can see it and then do something with it.
You know, Machen, that's one of the greatest skills and techniques that a lot of people don't truly understand about coaching, which is mirroring, right? Which is just mirroring back what you're hearing. Now, financial advisors could learn that technique from you too, couldn't they? Because if they're asking the right lines of questions with their clients and or if they're truly listening, which you and I both know very few people are good at listening, they could help their clients uncover that zone of brilliance too, couldn't they?
Yeah, absolutely. That's, as you know, an advisor is really a financial coach for their clients. They help their clients move from point A to point B financially so that they can have a comfortable retirement or put the kids through college, as you know. And it's that ability to listen, but also listening between the lines, listening to what's not said and feeding it back. And they may not always get it right, but by feeding it back to the client can then let them know, give them intel or feedback that, yes, that's it. That's what we really want. Or no, that's not quite it. Maybe it's this over here. But either way, they'll get to that point where the client wants to get to.
I'm going to take a small step back here, because why and how did you get to the point of specializing in this? Tell us a little bit about your journey, if you don't mind.
Yeah, in a nutshell, I'm what my buddy John Assaraf calls a serial entrepreneur. I'm the kid that had we lived on a golf course. I'd go shag balls and then sell, out of the lagoon, and then I'd sell the golf balls and I'd make money that way. I had a water ski school that I put myself through college with the proceeds from that. And then I got into financial planning, and I had a couple other businesses. So the bottom line is I spent over 25 years in financial services as an advisor, as an agency manager, in recruiting and growing and leading people. And I found that what really held people back, it's not who they think they are that holds them back, it's who they think they're not. And so it was just really intriguing to me to see how people have set up their cage or their environment that keeps them at the certain plateau, and they say they want to break out of it, but they're not willing to take the risk to make it so. So I help them kind of bust the myth of the risk and get them to understand that the risk they're associating to stepping up or going bigger is not really a risk at all. It's just made up in their mind. And when we can start to dismantle that and people can start to move into their full potential, it's just amazing what happens and how their life changes. And I've just been blessed to be able to figure out how to do that with folks and help them live a more full life, a more productive, more prosperous life. And it's the most rewarding thing on the planet for me.
A wise man once said to me that fear stands for false evidence appearing real. And I love the fact that you make them challenge their risk, because people get comfortable, right? They get comfortable where they are, and their body always wants to maintain that level of comfort. And you're taking them out of that comfort zone and showing them that it's safe. Did I paraphrase that okay?
Yeah, and I'd isolate the word comfort in that most people really aren't comfortable. They're just familiar.
Oh, I like that. Elaborate. Keep going. I like that.
Yeah, so we all have only two problems, right? We know what we want, but we don't know how to get it. Or number two, we don't know what we want. Most people fall into that category of not really knowing what they want, yet they have this feeling of disruption or not enoughness, or something's better on the other side, or I need to, figure something out, but they don't quite know what that is. So we just kind of poke and probe and find out what it is they really want. And, being a coach yourself, Matt, you can probably appreciate this. When you ask people, so what do you want? Why are we on this call? They actually proceed in telling you what they're tired of, or what they don't want to tolerate any longer, or what's not working. And that's not the question, right? The question is, what do you want for yourself? And most people just don't know, but they know what they don't want. Mm-hmm. And so we just flip the coin and say, well, if you don't want this, how does this sound? And then usually they're like, yeah, that's it. That's absolutely it. And then we show them a path.
Tony Robbins talks about massive change. Mm-hmm. Do you believe that massive change is the way to initiate change, or are you more of the philosophy of slow and steady wins the race?
Well, I think the situation's the boss. I think there's a place for both, right? We're creatures of habit and patterns. And I think sometimes to untangle or dismantle a habit or a pattern, I don't think you can break a habit, right? I mean, there a lot of roots in that network. So we can untangle it, and we can start with, the smallest knot and work our way and keep untangling the knots and move our way to the change. Now, that's kind of a small, like you say, the slow and steady wins the race. And so it might be a matter of identifying a habit that is limiting somebody or holding somebody back, and we start to recondition that habit, maybe put a new habit in its place. But there are other changes that sometimes have to happen on a massive side, kind of what Tony says, take massive action, bold action. And oftentimes what that does is it moves us past or beyond the fear or the hallucination that we're going to get annihilated if we take that risk. And when we step across it and we realize, it didn't kill us, it's like, okay, I think I can do this. And then it's that shift that can oftentimes move people to where they want to get to.
How can being a better leader help you with your business and market more effectively as a financial services professional?
So are you asking how a financial advisor can be a better leader?
I'm just, that was an open-ended question. I don't know where you were going to go with that. I know that you work with a lot of people in financial services. So I'm looking to see how the process that you've created will not only help them become better leaders and better humans and live a better life, but how that actually can translate into them marketing themselves more successfully and being more successful in whatever that means in their mind.
Yeah, the word that comes to mind, Matt, is the word integrity. And if we look at the root word of integrity, it's integer, which is a whole number. And when we're whole, when we're all that we can be, we become way more attractive to those around us. And it pulls in our ideal clients. Our clients respond better to us. They're actually more accountable. And so, there's kind of 4 tenets that we look at. First is we need to gain the clarity of what's really possible for our practice. We need to then create a plan, a strategic plan that will realize that. But then there's a piece where we have to expand our mental toughness and also our full potential thinking. And then it's a matter of accountability or conditioning. And so we show advisors how to work with themselves, how to work with their team, how to work with their clients in standing in that place of integrity and high accountability and keeping their agreements and getting the people around them to keep their agreements. Because when we don't keep our agreements, that's where we waste time, we waste money, as well as energy. And if we can recoup all of our time, money, and energy that's squandered in people not keeping their agreements, again, it's amazing how we can accelerate the growth of our business.
I love that you said making somebody whole. I don't personally know, Machen, if there is a better job in the world than helping people make that realization. I mean, the confidence that goes along with that, the security, it's people just feel it, don't they?
I think so. And, the reality is we are whole, we are complete. Yet our ego, or the gremlin, whatever you want to call it, that inner critic or inner committee, it's very clever in getting us to forget that we're whole, that we're enough.
Can you? I want our listeners to hear that last sentence again. Can you say that one more time?
Yeah, it's. I believe it's our ego, or some people call it the gremlin, or the inner committee, or the inner critic. And it does a brilliant job at getting us to forget that we're complete, resourceful, and whole. And it's a mastermind, if you will, in creating these stories, these scenarios in our mind that keep us stuck or unconscious even, in just kind of keeping the status quo. And it's, we all look for wanting to know, and when we know, confidence replaces fear. But our real power is in letting go of what we think we know to be true. And it's stepping outside of that. And I'm always reminded of the movie. It's one of the Indiana Jones movies where he's at the edge of the cliff and he has to step off the cliff into the abyss and have total trust. And then there's this invisible bridge that rises up. And it's that faith. And that's what we have to really step into, is that bigger potential that we're all capable of. And when we do that more and more and more, we start to feel that the universe or the world does rise up to meet us, to carry us to where we want to get to. And it's our goal of where we want to get to that keeps us in motion. And it's that staying in motion that allows us to experience what our true purpose is. And for me, that's the magic of what we do with our clients, is we help them get a clear goal, get them to move towards the goal, but it's the not being at the goal yet. It's the this isn't it. that's it, right? That's what keeps us moving forward. So it's all about expansion and moving forward.
You have solved one of the greatest coaching problems that any coach I've ever found was really always really struggled with, which is the problem of scale. You've built something that is almost a do-it-yourself sort of, hey, do the work as I send it to you sort of thing. Would you mind talking to us a little bit about this 21-day program?
Oh, sure. Yeah, that's an easy way to start to get familiar with the type of work that we do. And I love it. My clients love it. They get such great results out of it. And all it is 21 days of a tight lesson plan and a short video. It doesn't take long. It's less than 10 minutes a day. And what it does is it helps you identify the meaningful goal that you want to get to, and what are the habits that are inside that goal that you need to develop, as well as maybe need to dismantle or untangle. And we walk you through step by step each day over 21 days how to dismantle the habits that are contaminating your success and build or construct the habits that will contribute to your success. And like I say, it's less than 10 minutes a day. It builds on itself. It's conditioned. And it's not to say that you can't change a habit instantly. I believe you can. It's not necessarily that it takes 21 days. There's some that are repetitive. It takes that conditioning. But there's other ways to change a habit. We call it the jackpot method, which is if there's enough emotional content embedded with something, we'll change a habit like that. In other words, you don't have to put your hand on the stove 21 times in a row to break that habit of putting your hand on the stove, right?
Yeah.
Just happens once. There's enough pain, wakes us up. We shift the habit. We shift our neurology.
You have a quote on the bottom of your sign-up page, which we're going to have on our show notes. It says, "We are what we repeatedly do. Excellence is then not an act, but a habit," by Aristotle. And I love that because you do need to continue to practice, right? And not only do you need to practice, becoming a better person, realizing that you're whole, being a great leader, but whatever you're really good at, even if you are an excellent financial advisor, I think you should ask yourself, when is the last time you actually practiced that, right? So much of it's just conditioning. It's like your ability for listening is not something that you don't have to practice. Now, you obviously have some sort of intrinsic ability to do it, but you practice your craft just like you're asking people to practice their craft, and not just their craft, but the right habits. Is that fair?
Absolutely fair. There's a gentleman in the industry, Wayne Cotton, and he's helped a lot of advisors, and he has a saying that says ad-libbing is for amateurs, right? We have to learn our scripts. We have to learn our products. We have to learn our clients and our prospects. And the more we practice makes permanent, practice makes progress. Practice doesn't necessarily make perfect. So we have to be heading in the direction we want and constantly calibrate and refine and improve. And that's what builds our habits.
If you don't have a person in your life like Machen who can help hold you accountable, can help you stay focused, I personally believe, and I'm totally biased here, that you are not truly a professional unless you are currently working with a coach, whether that's a professional athlete, a professional financial advisor, a professional insurance professional, because honestly, that's really what separates the good from the great, to quote somebody else there. But there are lots of other things that you do. Would you mind talking about, so we just talked a little bit about, and this is called Magnetic Habits, the 21-day program that I just referred to and that you just elaborated on. What are some of the other things that you do to help leaders and to help people in our industry?
Yeah, here's one of my favorites, and I'll share this with you. And for those that are listening, they can write this out, and it's a super powerful model. I call it the responsibility game. And if we know what the responsibility game is and we start winning it, our life will change. And so here's how it works. At the top of a page, write the word responsibility, and then right underneath that, write the words respond with ability. Most of you probably have heard that breakdown of the word responsibility, respond with ability. Now, when we're at our best and we're responding with all of our ability, as if our life depended on it or our kids' life depended on it, we get stuff done, right? But something happens. So if we draw a line underneath the word responsibility, and we drop below the line in three separate areas. The first area is we rationalize. We make up a story. Or if you take that word rationalize and break it in two, it's rational lies that we tell ourselves and tell others as to why we didn't respond with all of our ability and get it done, or get it done on time. The second area that people drop below the line is they blame, right? They blame other people, right? My clients didn't fill out the application correctly, or the home office lost the check, or whatever it is. We're blaming somebody else. If you take that word, be lame, so don't be lame, and take back the ownership, take back the responsibility, and make sure things get done when you say they're going to get done. And then the third area that most people will fall down is we shame, right? We hold ourselves in a less than posture. So we might hear somebody say, I never graduated college. I'm not a people person. I'm not good with numbers. And all that is an argument for our limitations. We're basically telling everybody that we're not capable of learning or growing or becoming. And so if you circle the first letter of those three words under the line, it's our BS that keeps us from responding with our ability. So if we can start to recognize where we're dropping below the line and just get ourselves back above the line, okay, what would it look like if I could respond with my ability in this situation and go do it? We're going to bend that curve. And if we've got a team, we do the same thing. One of the things we do when we go into an office is we set up a jar. We call it the RBS jar. And when any time anyone's dropping below the line of rationalizing, blaming, or shaming, they've got to throw a quarter in the jar. And you'd be surprised how fast that jar fills up. And it's not meant to be punitive. It's just meant to raise the awareness around where we are dropping below the line. So I encourage people to start playing and winning the responsibility game.
What is the best way for our listeners to reach out to you, engage with you, or sign up for one of your programs?
Well, they can call our office at 530-273-8000. They can email me. My direct email is Machen, that's Machen, at ProBrilliance.com. Or they can go to our website at ProBrilliance.com. We've got some free giveaways there that they can download and get a better feel for how they can benefit from what we do.
Well, Machen, I thank you so much for your magnificent insight today, and in all of I actually just wrote all of that down on my piece of paper. So that was really neat for me too. I love hearing how you, as a professional coach, help people break through the things that they need to break through. So thanks, man.
Thank you, Matt. This has been a blast.
Now, if you have been on the fence about marketing, podcasting, using social media, there's probably a reason you're on the fence. And I would say that the probability is very high that it's a confidence issue, or that you don't feel like you truly understand where your brilliance is and where other people's brilliance can begin. Please go through at least the Magnetic Habits 21-day program. It's incredibly cost effective. It's a brilliant model. It's a great program for you to really start uncovering some of those things that are stopping you from truly becoming the great person who you already are. You just need to realize it. And go ahead. We'll also make sure we have all of the contact information if you want to email Machen. But follow him on social media too. He posts some really, really great stuff, especially on LinkedIn. So make sure that you take time to just go ahead and send a connection request to him. It will be worth your time. All right, so for everybody at Pro Brilliance Leadership Institute and all of us here at Top Advisor Marketing, if you have not subscribed to the podcast, click that subscribe now button below. And of course, we'd love it if you would just take a second and give us a quick review on iTunes. And of course, if you know another financial services professional or somebody who really wants to truly become a great leader, share this podcast with them by just clicking that share button and send them a quick email to the link to this podcast. So thank you all very much. And this is Matt Halloran, and we'll see you on the other side of the mic very soon.
Are you ready to change the way you communicate with your clients? Are you tired of being the best kept secret in your area? Learn how to become a prolific online influencer, attract more ideal clients, and grow your business. Contact us today and see what the power of podcasting can do for your business. Click on the Contact Us link on our website at topadvisormarketing.com and set up a call to learn more. Follow us on LinkedIn and Facebook for more updates and information.
This was brought to you by Iris.xyz, a platform helping financial professionals become better in business and life through new media and new voices. Visit them and learn more at iris.xyz.